Thank you for that introduction and good day to all the participants in this webinar session hosted by the Department of Information Communication Technology, headed by its Regional Director Cheryl Ortega, in partnership with the Philippine Society of Information Technology Educators, Bicol Region, headed by its president, Dr. Benedicto Balilo. Thank you so much for putting your trust and confidence of having me here to share with you the most challenging and interesting topic in research, the techniques and strategies in selecting research topic. Selecting research topic is one of the preliminary stages in research, and I would like to add more on this topic. I will share with you based on various articles and my personal experiences of what are the best practices in conducting research, how to identify the gaps of the study, and what are the techniques and strategies in writing your manuscript. But before I present details of it today, I would like to pose a question to all the participants. Are you really interested in research? If yes, then you will have the edge on the topic that you would like to deal with. Why do I say so? Because there's a big possibility that you would put time and effort to read articles, analyze the contents of it, and evaluate findings, which provides guidance in improving and to decipher the best solution to offer in addressing certain issues and concerns. Isn't that significant? And for those who are attending the topic about research the first time, I am pretty sure you will find this interesting. As we gone through research during elementary and high school days, if you put so much attention on this, I can make sure that this will fire up the desire in you about research and doing it in the best possible manner. Conducting research works needs a lot of time and effort, and you can only be successful if you work hard on it, if you have the interest and motivation, which is equivalent to excellence. Aside from that, it is best to prepare yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally, because reading articles is not a walk in the park. It is vital and it needs intellectual capability and commitment. Of course, we need to be physically fit to perform research tasks because it trains our mind, resulting to sickness and anxiety. We need to be emotionally ready to accept criticisms and other not so good feedback. Be a positive thinker to make things happen. And if you worry about the technical details in conducting research, it will just follow as long as you have, again, the two qualities, the interest and motivation, plus your resourcefulness, right? There is nothing to worry about it. Don't hesitate to seek for assistance from the experts. Use your networks and linkages. Establish collaboration because it will give you an access to greater number of techniques and opportunity to learn about other disciplines. According to the researcharticle.com, selecting research topic is the most important consideration in every research. In fact, by looking at this figure, the selection of topic is the preliminary stage to undertake a research process. So in this stage, you need first to find out what is the most relevant topic that will surely benefit the entire community. For example, if you intend to redesign and develop enrollment system for schools, then for your application to become relevant, then why don't implement the new technology like artificial intelligence using appropriate algorithms to generate reliable insights? Why is this beneficial? Because in every corner of the business nowadays, they wanted a solution that could provide features that will generate reliable insights aside from the transactional type of solution that usually IT professionals produce. They also need analytical visions which would add value to the client. If you're asking me why integrate AI, that is not our specialization. That's the job of the computer scientist. Definitely yes. This is one of the computer scientist specializations. But what I am emphasizing here is how you can compete if you are not considering AI component into your application or other new technologies. Do you think that your solution is competitive enough to sustain in the market? The answer is no. Organizations and companies are wiser enough to choose application that could provide them the best of the best solution. Another thing, in business, one of their strategic plans is to adopt a cost-effective mechanism strategy. Like instead of hiring people to perform the job, they prefer to acquire an application that will replace human, like Alexa application used in customer relationship management, something to that effect. You know, there's a lot of research topic to choose from. It's just that we need to discover by looking at the current practices and processes and check the new technology to improve such. I know what you're thinking right now. The challenge of creating an AI application, right? As I've said, be resourceful. We have various resources available online. Collaborate with these computer scientists and industry experts as much as possible to come up with the best solution. All these things can be done. Just believe in your convincing power on how to work with these people. Another question, why do we need to provide best solution? Because we want to offer optimum convenience, thus increase productivity towards competitive advantage. So this is the major reason why you need to select a topic and conduct further investigation. You know, in establishing a topic, these are the questions which need answers. What are the needs? What is the current environment set up given that we have now these technologies? So one technique as a researcher is to lay down all the existing solution features and make further investigation. Okay, another task to undertake to identify a research topic is to read. The question is, where do you excerpt reliable articles for review and analysis? There is various repository platform of research materials. We have ResearchGate, Google Scholar, IEEE Digital Explorer, and different international journal websites. Some of them are free to access, and some you have to pay a royalty. Why do you need to do this? Simply because we need to identify the research gap and find out if it is worthy to improve. In addition, we also conduct revalidation and reaffirmation of the existing claim of the study through interview and survey in the local context of your study, meaning who are the beneficiaries of your solution, because we must design in accordance with our operation processes. Remember, as IT professionals, we are responsible to identify relevant solutions for our specific client. Based on my experience and observation, clients can be demanding in nature. They want it delivered yesterday. And some of them are not even technically knowledgeable in explaining what they really want. So, to avoid disagreement, disapproval, and possible failure, it is important to conduct systematic investigation and ensure that a system analyst of your team is well-rounded and have full knowledge of the business operation. Practically, check the current situation, environment, then ask yourself why there's a need to investigate before you look for articles to support the claim of your initial investigation. Don't forget to make comparative assessment of all these existing solutions and look at each solution's strengths and weaknesses. Adapt all the strengths and improve those weaknesses, opportunities that you have discovered, and incorporate those new features that you think which is highly relevant. It is best to put in mind that the key success in research is to make further investigation by discovering issues and consider new technology until you find the optimum solution. To support the elements that I have mentioned, this framework of Dennis presenting the factors and finding ideas to consider and select a topic to pursue, it is clear that proper investigation should be conducted to produce a tailored fit solution for a specific organization. Every now and then, we re-engineer the current system to fit the current needs because processes are continuously evolving and changing. So this is a lifetime commitment as IT professionals. We continuously produce innovative solutions. On the other hand, technology is not only for CS, IT, and IS. In fact, courses like business program, education, and the like adapted and or incorporate artificial intelligence technology. They have this data analytics in the respective curriculum. It opens opportunity to share our knowledge and skills with them. Do you believe that? You choose the right career path in technology. The spectrum of the workplace needs technology experts. Congratulations in advance. I hope that you are ready and prepared for deployment. The industry is waiting for you. Okay, moving forward, companies adopted and implemented innovative technology to improve business process, right? Question: what specific company would you like to provide your solution? Are you into education, agriculture, business, security, transportation, what else you can think of? This approach will help you narrowing your selected research topic. For example, you choose security sector. Then the next question is, what specific business operation would you like to apply your solution? Like in a school setting environment. Then investigate in general of what are their problems, challenges, learning opportunities, and close lookup. For example, their problem is the security of the attendance monitoring system. The technique here is map all existing technology solutions applied for security and conduct investigation by identifying specific problem. For example, the use of face recognition. The result of the investigation would serve as basis in improving existing solution. Instead of using face recognition, you recommend using iris technology because according to your study that the technology is cost efficient and effective. Now we offer this technology to our client based on our research. However, offering sophisticated technology may not guarantee also for adaptation and implementation due to factors like financial capability of our client. This is one of the challenges. You know, as a project manager, if you become a project manager someday, you need to provide alternative solutions and articulate the advantages and disadvantages of the proposed solution. Always remember that the goal in research is to contribute to the body of knowledge, which is you develop a solution, something new and innovative to offer. In relation to this, you have tried to ask yourself why there is numerous similar research topics are being produced and developed. Why? Because in every contributor of knowledge, the researcher opens new opportunities for other researcher developers to improve existing work or solution. Research is continuous process. Okay, I have a challenge for you. Since you are searching for topic, why don't you consider communication? We are all users of social media, like Facebook. Why don't you improve the chat environment features? All of us, I know that we experience difficulties in searching thread of messages, right? Why don't you improve that searching mechanism that will classify according to the topic, date of creation, or you can somehow generate sentiment analysis referring to those messages in that particular group? Check the significance of this. I believe that there is. In relation to this, these are the research areas reflected in our CMO 25 series of 2015 for the BSIT program. And as IT, you can create any of these technologies provided issues are clearly identified to let you select relevant topic. In this list, information kiosks got my interest because it is timely and relevant in this pandemic time. Why don't you create an inquiry booth system that offers virtual tour and AI component to address frequently asked questions of potential customers? Another area to consider is the game concepts, like the concept of Kahoot. If you are familiar with this application, why don't you integrate the concept to LMS to increase engagement of students? Also, if you are interested with server management, why don't you implement optimization of resources? You know, the bottom line here is try to find out of what is lacking, needs for improvement, or any closed loop gap that barriers this development. And also, take a look of the web application development research area. All of this research area identified in the list can be designed and developed in a web application approach, right? Moreover, the SALive.com listed innovative technology research topics such as the application of artificial intelligence. You can apply this in hospitals to manage patient information. You can also look at the time spent in online of a kid. You may integrate detection mechanism features to restrict them. Okay, the digital voting to avoid possibility of falsification. The augmented reality in online shopping. that allow customers to feel and see the products, the security of the self-driving vehicle, the security issue of cryptocurrency, the cloud technology security, the home technologies can be strengthened through putting additional restriction mechanism. The game addiction using streaming services, the security of VPN, the virtual reality game like traveling to the future, the work from home setup environment where tasks are monitored and recorded, the computer generated imagery in game and films on how to actors look on the screen. So these are some of researchable topics. So you set your mind to have a clear direction on how to deal with these topics listed. Okay, next, these are the questions as basis in selecting your research topic. Why did you choose the topic? What interests you about it? Do you have an opinion about the issues involved? Who are the information providers on this topic? Who might publish information about it? Who is affected by the topic? Do you know of organizations or institutions affiliated with the topic? What are the major questions for this topic? Is there a debate about the topic? Are there a range of issues and viewpoints to consider? Where is your topic important? At the local, national, or international level? Are there specific places affected by the topic? Was your topic important? It is current event or an historical issue? Do you want to compare your topic by time periods? These questions will serve as basis in finding research gap. Now, let's proceed to the articulation of the gap as basis in selecting your research topic. Okay, this model shows where to look at the specific gap in research paper. You can view the gap in the summarization of your review of related literatures and studies. Evaluate how the research work evolved and content analysis and how the paper is technically presented and empirically analyzed. For the meta-analysis, better check for the representation of the articles and the respondents. We have here systematic review where appropriate tools and techniques in the work are applied accordingly and properly investigated. Another technique to look at is the recommendation part of the paper and its limitations, because this is the part where the author also stated specific areas needs for improvement. Now let's move on to the approaches of identifying research gaps in the articles of Marx. He identified the 7 gaps to consider, such as the population gap, evidence gap, methodological gap, theoretical gap, practical knowledge, and knowledge gap. I will share the approach related on how we technically identify those gaps. Let's start with the evidence gap. So this gap means that a new research findings contradicts widely accepted conclusion. Best example here is when you develop a solution to a particular sector and it is highly recommended for implementation based on the evaluation result of your evaluators. Perhaps it is accepted in a local setting, but if you're looking into the macro approach development side, then investigators, researchers will look in the wider part on how the solutions are executed and investigated. If the solution fails to prove the findings to general practice of what is expected in that solution, then this will open opportunities for the researchers to improve the existing solution. Next to this is the knowledge gap. This gap may not exist in the actual field, the theories and literatures from related research domains and the results of the study differs from what was expected. In our case, of course, we presented the literatures and studies supported with the conduct of survey and interview for verification to ensure that the application is relevant to the current practice. Next is the practical knowledge. This gap conflict arises when the actual behavior of professional is different from their advocated behavior. This arises when developers miss some important features and fail to achieve efficiency of the developed solution. Relative example to this, developers provide solution without looking at the other factors that affects resources and entail costs for the company in implementing the application. Yes, applications running, but in terms of efficiency, they failed on this side. You know, there are experts whose job is to assess the efficiency and effectiveness of solutions like the ISO standards and other organizations. Next is the methodological gap. This gap addresses the conflicts with the research methods in the prior studies and offers a new line of research that is divergent from those research methods. When you read a paper in the methodology section, you may assess how the research work systematically conducted in terms of the tools used in developing and evaluating the solution. In this case, if you think that there are lapses on the execution of the solution, then all you must to do is revalidate by introducing a new method, which is better than the existing. For example, based on your assessment that the developed solution should be tested in different types of platform to ensure flexibility. However, the existing work failed to test them. This could be the gray area of the study. Another thing is you need also to check the expertise of the evaluators because the performance of the application relies on the evaluator's evaluation, which is reflected in the result and discussion section of your paper, and tools used for evaluation. You know, some paper that I have reviewed, they apply this ISO software quality evaluation tool, but the evaluation process is questionable. Like, for example, evaluation criteria assess the user interface of the application, but the process in evaluating sets that for that criteria did not meet the standard requirement in terms of the expertise of the evaluators. To avoid issues, you may ensure that the composition of your evaluators must be knowledgeable and experts in assessing the software quality. Then we have here the theoretical gap. This gap deals with theory with a prior research, a common occurrence in examining prior research on a phenomenon. Some paper failed to provide sufficient information from related literature. Some are obsolete, some are not related to the study. Some did not meet appropriate organization in summarizing the review of related literatures and studies. The technique here is you collect updated resources, create a matrix to map all the existing studies, and rank them as reference guide in writing your paper. Question: what items to collect in the existing studies to redefine the research problem? Objectives of the study, the method, the finding, and the recommendation part of the paper. Next is the empirical gap. It deals with gaps in the applied research. This conflict deals with research finding or proposition needs to be evaluated or empirically verified. In this gap, you may check on the result of the study, on how the study applied mathematical analysis using this statistical treatment. Take note that even though the goal of your research is to produce the application, it must be accompanied with data analysis. C, the assistance of the statistician that will help you to identify what are those appropriate tools to apply and do some analysis is important. You know, most of the paper that I have reviewed for IT paper, I always observe the use of this mean. So please make further analysis, okay, for you to arrive empirical results. And the last but not the least, the population gap. This is the type of research regarding the population that is not adequately represented or under-researched in the evidence-based or prior research. For a technical paper that we are doing in IT, make sure that you qualify the representation of your population. Even it is used for building data sets and or your evaluators of the solution. The technique here is you set criteria to ensure reliability. Use appropriate methods like this random sampling, stratified sampling, and convenience sampling. Depends on the goal of the study. So choose those methods, apply those methods. Okay, so those gaps that I have mentioned with examples can help you grow a research topic. And to perform of what is research all about after selecting the research topic, now it's time for you to document the entire process of the research activities. First and foremost, always observe best practices in conducting research. And for your paper to achieve quality, the idea is must be original. The methods are executed accordingly. The findings are consistent, free from grammatical errors, supported with pieces of evidence, and free from plagiarism issues. Among these components, I would like to emphasize on the plagiarism issues. This is always a problem, especially to those who experience difficulty in reconstructing the statement from the existing studies. To address this issue, please create a matrix that indicates the name of the author, year of publication, objectives of the study, methodology, major findings, and recommendation. Place those components in an Excel format and then rank them. What is the first item that you would like to cite? And please take note that in summarizing literature, use connecting words to observe the rules of parallelism. And see to it that you are not copying the entire statement of the existing studies. You understand the study and construct it in your own words, except for those technical terminologies before you run it into plagiarism software. Just an FYI, I'm not using plagiarism software. Why? Because I know on how to avoid plagiarism. I only use plagiarism tool if it is advised by a publication or conference where I submit my paper. Next is the paper is systematically conducted. I have already mentioned this component in my previous discussion, but I want you to take note on this. The technique in writing paper is to document on how you actually conceptualize and execute the solution. and see to it that it is clearly stated using appropriate techniques such as the model's use, statistical treatment, application techniques, and tools used, testing tools, and implementation plan strategy. Next, the paper should show reliability in terms of techniques used, analysis, and interpretation. For the PSIT program, therefore, you need to articulate the software development model used in the study. Take note, don't copy the definition of the model that you have searched from the internet. In every phase of the system development lifecycle model, you need to explain why using that model and explain clearly in every phase of the model on how the actual process conducted from the initiation to the implementation. Take note, a capstone project in BSITE must be implemented, so that before you start the project, you should secure the approval of your client in terms of the design and the features of the application. In addition, set criteria of your evaluator and adopt available software quality standard tool as your basis in evaluating software quality, such as functionality, reliability, usability, efficiency, maintainability, and portability. Take note, when using these characteristics as your guide, see to it that you review if it is aligned with the purpose of your application or your solution. Possibility that you need to formulate the question pertaining to each of the criteria or characteristics in assessing your solution. Then, of course, the most important part of the paper is the contribution to the body of knowledge. Definitely, it is new and worthy. And finally, after all you've done, all those documentation requirements, the research work will be shared to the public, like in research forum and conferences. If you submit, then I am sure you've done it right. Remember, students and faculty, the justice for research is not only for completion, but to publish it. In relation to this, I would like to share to you what are the preparation in my department, the Institute of Computer Studies here in St. Michael's College of Laguna. Every year level, research activities is integrated to one of our courses to prepare our students on how to conduct and write research. Actually, the strategy is very effective. Teachers, we need to accept the reality, the limitation, and capability of our students in doing research. We need to walk an extra mile for our students to guide them through our involvement during the initiation of the project until to the implementation of their research project to make it successful. Not only to give them inputs, but to work with them religiously. Our commitment and passion drives us to produce scholarly research work. Modesty aside, SMCL students won best paper in both local and international conferences. Yes, we've got all the awards because of our passion and commitment to provide quality education. And that's all our goal. And make research endeavor more meaningful and fruitful. As their thesis advisor, I put my time to the team, editing the paper, conceptualize the project on how to make it more efficient. There are times that we both study various algorithms through a YouTube content to understand the step-by-step process of a certain algorithm so that we can apply it and code it right. And after we've done all the documentation, I see to it that I require my students to present in a research forum with invited experts to review the paper because we would want to know the lapses of it and come up with an improvement if needed. As early as second year, I encouraged them to present in the international level, competing with other countries and seeking expertise advice to prepare them. We're making sure that we conduct mock defense on how to answer possible questions. As teacher, few incidents says, I get tired of this work. But my passion drives me to work overtime because the feeling of fulfillment is different. Students are talented and intelligent. They just need a mentor who can seriously work with them. Now I challenge you to do the same and don't hesitate to present your work. Okay, to guide you the detail on how we accomplish our research project, let me show you the diagram. This is the diagram that I made on how to write your paper. This diagram guides you on how to accomplish the entire manuscript with consistency and in logical sequence. First thing to do here is you need to read related literatures and studies to define the problem of the study, supported with a survey, interview, and observation for the purpose of revalidation regarding the claim of the existing study to the current situation. Then, the problem would be your guide to specify the objectives of the study. And you may only write your introduction once you have all of these components. The summary of literatures and studies, the statement of the problem, and the objectives. Then after defining the objectives of the study, you can now write your methodology on how the study will be analyzed and executed using appropriate tools. After that, you need to evaluate the study using appropriate tools to investigate the functionality, reliability, usability, and portability of your developed solution. And that result will lead you to draw a conclusion where you need to highlight only the major findings in relation to the objectives of your study. Then from the result or your solution, you can now identify areas for improvement. After all of this, you may now write your abstract. That's how the flow in writing your paper. One of the tasks in writing the paper is to write your title or formulate your title. Make it sure that it is simple, catchy, and indicates the content and reflect the investigation. I have shown here two examples of titles to compare. Take a look on the first title, the study observes chemical enhancement factors using buffer layer assisted growth of metal nanoparticles on self-assembled monolayers. If you are not into this field, it is difficult to understand. It made some confusion of what is the study all about. Unlike the second title, the signal on detection of DNA whole transfer at the single molecule level presented it in a simple manner. The idea is clear and it guides the reader of what is the study all about. Bear in mind that the title captures attention of the reader interest to read the entire manuscript. Thus, you gain more citation. For the introduction, I have flow here on how the introduction will be constructed. First is you need to establish the core topic. For example, the title of your study is Behavior Analysis of Attendance Monitoring System. Question: What is the core topic? The core topic is attendance. So in your first paragraph, state the concept of attendance, importance of attendance, policies, and the like. Then you may review literature like, for example, the effect of attendance towards productivity. And for the review of studies, you need to highlight what are the existing solutions pertaining to attendance. Then on your second paragraph, state the gap and analyze the limitation of the existing studies. And maybe on your third paragraph, describe the proposed solution and explain the motivation on why you conduct the study. And please state clearly the contribution of your study. With regards to reading various articles, as I have mentioned, you prepare a matrix to easily glance the concept of the study, arrange it in logical sequence before you write your introduction. This particular reading review of related literatures and study will be your support that you introduce a new study. That would be your guide. Next is the construction of the specific problem. For example, your topic is about crime, and one of the defined problem is time-consuming to generate report. Then, to support the statement from the claim of the existing study, as you can see in this slide, for example, based from the two studies, the cited problem are limitations of resources and lack of information to generate inaccurate report. Aside from this, you need to contextualize the problem to the target beneficiary. You may conduct an interview and show the result of the interview. It says here that only few are informed, and this is because of the lapses of the current practices. And to ensure that you understand the deeper part of the identified problem, you have to verify and describe the existing process. This process serves as basis for the development of your solution. Next is the sample statement of the problem with explanation and the specific objective. Take note, specify each problem, which should be answered in the objectives of the study. Based on example here, the specific objective directly answered on how to resolve the problem. With regards to the scope of the study, these are the questions that you need to consider. The system requirements, who are the users and its accessibility level, what are the specific system modules to create, and what is the process of the system. This must be reflected in the methodology section of the paper. Next is to write the significance of the study. Check the objectives of the study. For example, the objective is to generate real-time report. Ask a question of what is the effect of having real-time report. Based on our example here, it answers the objectives that generating real-time report would result to increased productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. Another example, if the objective is to view the crime report by the public, so this would definitely help the community to make good decision. Take note, the significance of the study should be reflected in the introductory part of the paper when you answer the statement, what motivates you to conduct the study. Part of the methodology section of your paper, you need to explain the detail on how you actualize the solution. Select a system development lifecycle model to be used. Take note, each model implements different strategies, so the use of the model may depend on the capability and resourcefulness of the team. These are the models to choose from: the waterfall model, incremental model, spiral model, and agile model. Also, you need to illustrate the conceptual framework that maps out the actions required in the development of your solution, given the existing solution. So you have to map out so that you have a clear picture on how you solved your solution. Furthermore, ask these questions: who are the users, what are the requirements, how to design the solution, where to implement the developed solution, and why using the tools in developing the solution. So these particular questions will be answered in your methodology. And of course, take note, I have here the tips on how to write the methodology. So we have the research design. You have to explain the data gathering procedure, the validation and formulation of your survey questionnaire. You have to explain that. And the statistical, okay, treatment that you apply in your study. For the result, these are some important components. The statistical analysis applied, explain the problem based on the previous studies, the significant figures, and present it in logical sequence. Take note, you may choose either to present in a table or in a graphical form. Please avoid repetition if it is already reflected in the table. What we're going to do is analyze the result and explain the reason behind. For example, the study is to classify the mathematical intelligence of a person, and the result shows that 70% are male and 30% are female. So explain why majority of the result refers to male and make supporting evidence. So, if, for example, according to study that male are good in math. So this is how you present the results. So please don't repeat of what is reflected in your table. And in writing your conclusion, please do not summarize the result in this part. You make conclusion in relation to your objectives. You only present the major findings of the study. And in this part, to suggest the future experiment or future improvement and state the main contribution of the paper. And the last part of the documentation is writing your abstract. State the introduction in one sentence, then the general objectives, the method used, the major findings, and recommendation in 250 words only. Okay, so in addition to this, so I may suggest that you convert your traditional hardbound documentation of the paper. Please adapt the journal type format like ACM and Triple E format. Okay, so I do hope that in this sharing you get techniques and strategies in research. Feel the research and strive doing it. Thank you and good day to everyone.